Welcome everyone to Tales Historia, where I examine and discuss all things Tales Runner. From the characters and maps to its lore and history, I research and provide information on said topics. Today, we're looking at one of the first maps released via patch in Tales Runner, the Frog Prince. Let's dash in. As the title of the map suggests, it is based on the fairy tale collected by the Brothers Grimm. Other incarnations you may have heard of include The Princess and the Frog or The Husband is a Frog. The Brothers Grimm hold the Frog Prince as their best work for what it encapsulates, to not judge others and to keep promises. If you do not know the plot already, a spoiled princess loses her golden ball while playing near the pond outside her castle. A talking frog offers to help retrieve the golden ball in exchange for her friendship by allowing him to be by her side and letting him sleep inside the castle, which she accepts. However, she thinks the frog is stupid and relationships cannot be formed between different species. The frog retrieves the ball for her, but she leaves without keeping her promise. He returns that night and explains the promise to her father, whom requests his daughter do the honorable thing and be friends with him. She obliges, where the frog sleeps next to her that night and transforms into a prince due to her generosity, where he explains that a witch from a neighboring country transformed him and a generous deed from a princess would change him back. They leave the next day to his kingdom to live happily ever after. Additionally, the fairy tale has a secondary title under the name Iron Henry, which comes from the Frog Prince's assistant, who was extremely depressed by his master's transformation and placed 3 iron bands around his heart as to not break it. When the prince returns after changing back, the iron bands break due to extreme happiness he feels for his master's redemption. Other stories include different endings, such as the famous kiss with the frog or apologizing to the frog. However, the Brothers Grimm original ending included slamming the frog against the wall to break the curse. Okay. Furthermore, you could probably tell that the story had other morals. The fact that Princess needs to maintain her promise to the prince and Henry's loyalty to him incites the moral of indentured servitude and knowing your place in society. I mean, I can see it. That is an interpretation at least. Anywho, how does Tales Runner's map hold up in comparison? The map starts with you on the other side of the pond, where you receive a frog hat to swim about the lily pads and cattails in the water. You need to traverse obstacles such as logs, whirlpools, catfish, and cranes until you reach a launch pad. This catapults you through the sky to land on a few lily pads with golden balls on them. You swim through the last bit of cranes and whirlpools to reach the other side of the pond and bring the princess her golden ball. As you can see, the map is based off the first part of the story. You take the role of the Frog Prince and go to retrieve the princess's golden ball she lost. Although the map ends with you giving the ball to her, we can presume she will walk back into her castle without thanking you. So the map follows it closely, but takes liberties to make the map hazardous with different obstacles along the way. Let's take a closer look at the map by taking it apart piece by piece. First, when you fall out of the portal, you see green trees on your left and then a purple, pink, and red tree on your right. This seems odd, but when you notice that similar colored leaves are on the ground below, we can presume the map takes place during autumn. You continue racing along until you reach a few dash panels to speed you up until you reach the pond checkpoint. When you arrive, you will receive a frog hat with a short transformation scene. This scene can be cancelled if you are able to interrupt it, such as jumping on someone's head or being furied. Afterwards, you swim through the pond with logs and lily pads floating about. You can jump on them to use your max speed if necessary. It was helpful during its initial release, but since they added the swim speed stat 10 years later, people prefer to just swim if it is faster for them. Additionally, you will encounter various animals within the pond, some of these being catfish shooting electricity and the cranes bobbing their heads into the water. Surprisingly, there exist catfish that do spark electricity up to voltages of 350. The problem is that electric catfish only exist in Africa and the fairy tale is inspired by Germany. So maybe they were imported from another country to be put in this pond. It is the royal families, so who knows. Another animal that doesn't exist in Germany is the sandhill crane, which appears to be the closest bird resembling the ones on the map that I could find. It is native to North America, so maybe another import. And of course, there are many frogs scattered about the map. In total, there are 43 of them. We know this because it was one of the questions for the Tails Runner quiz event during Tails Academy, which had runners look on maps to identify the certain features. However, the frogs are placed in specific locations. The first ones are on the large log to the right after the first curve in the pond, which has baby frogs on them. The second one is in between the 4 catfish right before the launch pads, which is hidden by this lily pad that you can jump over. It may take a few seconds to break through the wall, but you will find a choir of baby and daddy frogs. The third and final group of frogs are to the left of the launch pads, and they are daddy frogs. Something special with these frogs is if you have the sound effects on high, you can hear them sing together as a choir with them saying Tails Runner 6 times and Let's Have Fun in Korean. Take a listen. Besides wildlife, plenty of flora is spread about. Mushrooms, cattails, sunflowers, lotuses, and many more. These can be seen around various parts of the map. After going through the launch pads, you pick up the golden orb where you evade more cranes and whirlpools. You'll take it to the princess waiting at the end in front of her castle. The castle seems to be based off of Elf's Castle, which is located in Rhine-Palatine, Germany. Thus, the pond or lake with moving waters you race along is off the Elsbach River near the castle. However, the map wasn't always like this. Back during development when Round teased updates of the map, they shared some photos. These photos appear to go backwards, so I'll start from what I think is the beginning. First is the fences of trees and flowers behind it. This matches how the map begins, but if you notice, the path is filled with stepping stones instead of the dirt pathway with some leaves we got in the final version. Then the next image confirms it is the beginning of the map as you see one moving log with a curved path. Additionally, the large log you can climb up to see the frogs is visible in the background. There is no catfish or cranes visible, but it may be the easy version of the map. Previously, 2 versions of the map existed, but when they removed different difficulties, they kept most of the normal versions. Next is the runner racing around the bend with that large log visible to the right. Again, you don't see any of the hazard animals, but you do see some lily pads in the back, which is strange because the next image shows different lily pads. They have a rim barrier to protect runners, yet there are horizontal slits cut out. It contrasts with the ones in the final version without these barriers. However, it seems the runners would go sideways from this point as the final image shows them jumping sideways after taking a launch pad. In the final version, the launch pad only sends you forward. It doesn't show what else could have been there, but there wasn't a frog hat or golden ball anywhere to be seen. While it could be them viewing the map from a dev client, maybe the delivery aspect wasn't added yet. The fun doesn't stop there though, as Frog Prince was remade in the mobile game Tails Runner Rush and Dash. It was modeled by Junsu Kim and is a almost sideways view of the map. Some notable things is that the background used in the map is from Tails Farm instead of a clear blue sky like in the original. Additionally, there are butterflies with a demon face on the wings, yet they have a body of a bee, which acts as a hazard for runners. Weird thing to place on the map. It appears you race to the right and jump over various obstacles and hurdles until you reach the end. While there are docks and lands to race on, it appears you race towards the castle similar to the map from the main game, minus the swimming. Finally, what about the records for the map? To preface, I will mainly focus on users who utilize new techniques to reduce their time. There are a ton of records available over several servers over many years, so it can be difficult to determine who did what first, especially given delayed releases in other areas. On that note, I will focus only on official servers because I am unaware of what changes and bonuses they gave on private servers. As the game grows and changes, certainly things would make it faster to race on. Well, the game started out with a max of 10 stats and not many items would be added until a few years later that allowed players to reach those stats. The earliest record I can find is from ReGenSer, a popular YouTuber known for posting their records. He used Kai with 10 stats and everything except control at 6. As you can see, he jumps on various obstacles like logs, rocks, and lily pads. This is because the water would slow you down when swimming, so it'd be faster to run instead of swim. He would post a time of 1:39:23 on February 14th, 2010, with a comment that a 1:36 was possible. However, the next big change would come 2 years later when Mini posted a video of 1:18:78, a nearly 20-second reduction. What changed? Well, people knew Furying is helpful as it boosts you to max stats. However, it only occurs for a short duration, and it can be a long process to build the Fury bar. Most of the Fury gain and duration stats would cap at almost 100% when wearing items, but then they added Arin's Alchemy. In this system, you craft a costume to gain stats based on a certain color randomly, but you can always reset them to get the ones you want. Additionally, if your set stats were all the same color, it would provide bonus stats. Fury gain and duration is marked by red, so if you can get all of it to the same color, you could get 25 to 30% bonus in that stat to exceed 100%. Adding wings and a face item with those stats increased it to almost 150%. Thus, it allowed for you to get Fury easier and have it last longer, which is what Mini did by using the whirlpools. When reaching the center of the whirlpools, you would get knocked back and you could land dash if timed correctly. This created a quick cycle to generate Fury and speed off into the distance. With multiple whirlpools available, it seemed like a no-brainer. Next, a decrease of 5 seconds by Chaksa on June 6, 2015 would occur with a time of 1:10:36. They used the same tactics as Mini, but instead the game increased the stats to 15 from the original 10. Thus, you can say 1 speed saves 1 second. Additionally, the usage of Avatar mode with the Rodentite set provides bonus Fury gain and duration when worn as a complete set. Avatar mode was available when Mini did it, but no Avatar exclusive sets were available yet at the time. The next change, however, would break the game in new ways. On July 22nd, 2015, the game added a new mechanic, Shoe. They serve as a secondary pet, but could be used in game where you tag them in. This gives you a huge speed boost and allows you to run faster. Not only that, you can use it at any time, including to get yourself out of a hazard. So if you were to add a magical rabbit with these powers, what would occur? Stella would be the one to first use Shoe and reduce the time by 1 second. Jin Young would post a time of 1:04:11 by quickly gaining Fury at the start, and then use Shoe to escape those hazards to quickly race around the map. Then he would Fury the rest of the way until he made it across. Jin Young wouldn't stop there, as in 2017 they added a new stat, swim speed. Instead of swimming at a flat rate for all characters, they can vary based on the swim speed stats. He would increase his time overall until he reached a time of 56 seconds with a swim speed stat of 850 in 2018. And that would be the end of the story. At least for Glitchless. You see, a few years ago, the Pterodon tuber Uma Panda discovered how the game works and decided to deconstruct it. He would go onto various maps to find shortcuts and holes in the maps to increase the speed. On March 18th, 2016, he posted a video of him doing the Frog Prince in 41 seconds. However, there was a catch. He needed some help. Real quickly, let's talk about respawning. Tails Runner can respawn in different ways. 1. You die instantly. 2. You respawn at a checkpoint. And 3. You respawn at a launch pad. The thing is, you can't fall off the map in Frog Prince. It is a pool of water with a rocky floor below. How would you break through it? Well, Tails Runner's physics is weird. Whenever you fall and land on something, it creates an impact on the ground that stuns you. However, it isn't just the ground, as characters can have this same property as well, if equipped with a hat not found anywhere else. The Frog Hat. What would happen if a character fell on the hat that someone was wearing and tried to stomp them? This would happen. As you can see, Uma Panda's friend knocked him out of the map through the floor with enough force from Big Bo. He would fall out of the skybox to respawn in front of the launch pad where he was able to race to the end with 41 seconds. This would be reduced to 39 seconds a year later with swim speed added, but this would fuel the fires. Is there anywhere else on the map that you could break the boundary without needing a second player? This next part is something I have been debating for a while and pushing off because of my own gripes of how to do this. So, this next technique utilizes the respawn mechanic that Uma Panda found. 3 people discovered this breakthrough technique: Red, Davey, and Sebi. While they have done wonders with their records, of all the forums and Discord channels I've been in, The only positive experience I've had with one of these people is Sebi. I don't want to mince words on the other two, so I'll stop there. Now that I am stepping from my preaching stand, what did they discover? Searching through the polygons, they found a hole in the wall in the left corner after the alley in 2019. If you get enough velocity and jump at the correct angle, you smash through and fall down until you swiftly respawn in front of the launch pad. This discovery was huge as it cut the single player time of 56 seconds by 7.5 to 48.5 seconds. Shortly after, a colleague of theirs, ReGenSer, would reduce the time to 47.95 seconds. Throughout the next 2 years, players would whittle down the time by milliseconds until the current time of 46.86 by last chance. Others believe it is possible to reduce it even more by a second or two, but this may require new items and features to break great barriers. And that is the history of the Frog Prince, at least of the recording of this video. I hope you learned some things from this map. All my sources will be in the description. If you have any comments or criticisms, you can leave them in the comments below. Or maybe you have a suggestion for a future video, then you can share that down below as well. I would appreciate it if you liked and shared this video. You can subscribe to this channel for more gaming videos, or my second channel for more video essays. Thank you, and have a fantastic day. Poof, poof.